Hello everyone, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey. Several weeks ago, Aaron Nelson, one of the partners of Cap Cork, had reached out to us about a bourbon dinner that was going to be coming to their establishment. And so let's talk a little bit about that night and the dinner. The first thing that we ended up having was some rye bread that was brought out by the company that's called, again,
Thomason's Barbecue.
Thomason's Barbecue.
Also, I will say Cap Cork's in Henderson, Kentucky, and
Yes.
so is Thomason's Barbecue.
And we ended up sitting next to the owner of Thomason's, and he was really stoked because they had done a variation of his barbecue sauce using the bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was outstanding, and the rye was the best I've ever had
Great
in
rye
my
bread.
life.
And they make that in-house too.
Oh, just fantastic. So then they brought out the first course, which ended up being a Cajun sushi. And brought out the chopsticks, I cracked them open and started eating away, and it was really good, very tasty.
Talk about the sauce that was on that.
It was a spicy sauce that was with crawfish in it, and that may sound repulsive, and for people that are really sushi purists, they might have not cared for it, but it was really tasty.
I did taste it. I'm not a sushi person. I'm not even a seafood person, but I wanted to taste it because I kept hearing that you've got to taste the sauce with the whiskey sour they were serving because it had a magical appearance or something to go with it. So I tasted enough to taste with the whiskey sour, but we got double portion basically.
I did, and the whiskey sour paired very well with it.
It was fantastic. That lemon and the whiskey sour just made everything pop. I was excited about the second course. The second one was a pork or carnitas, little mini taco, and the really cool part was it had this pimento cheese sauce on top of it and some other little decorations. I'm not sure what they were, but it was fantastic. I mean, you could cut it with a fork. It was so tender. And we had a serving of, I think it was barrel 2.
Yes, barrel 2.
Because these are all single barrels right now. And so that was really good. And then they brought out the main course, which was
a Wagyu New York strip steak. And it was fabulous. It was
really
very,
nice and
very
medium
tasty.
rare.
And they paired it off with barrel number 3. And barrel number 3 was very good.
It was outstanding.
Yes.
And I may have been a little bit giddy about the dessert because I love cheesecake. And this was a nice cheesecake that had been bruleed. And then it had a caramel sauce on it that was also made with this whiskey. And it had an anglaise that was just amazing. It just really pulled it all together. So, and that was all served with barrel number 4. So, wow, it was great. And when we thought it couldn't get any better, we had an opportunity to meet Zeb Hargis, who's one of the owners of Silk Velvet coming forward again. And he was the only one of his family that could attend that night. His brother, I think, was under the weather, and his dad was out of town. But we got to meet him and hear a little bit more about their story and what they were doing. But
there was one last surprise.
Oh, yeah.
And he ended up saying to hang around because he had one last thing that he wanted to spring on all of us. And so they brought out a bottle, and they started filling up the little sample cups that were there. And he announced that this was the last of, I believe, barrel number 1. And so we had an opportunity to try at least all 4 and the very first one. And of course, naturally, because we can't get it, barrel number 1 was my favorite.
Amazing.
Just amazing. It just ended up working that way. So it was a fabulous night.
As always at Cap Cork. I think last time we were there, Hard Truth had a dinner and Brian Smith had come in. So they do fabulous dinner pairings. And we've never gone there just for dinner, so we really need to do that ourselves.
Yeah, and we also need to go over to the barbecue place as well.
Yeah, we want to go to Thomason's Barbecue. And it's right on the river in Ohio, in Henderson there, the Ohio River. And so it's got beautiful sunsets.
So once we departed, we decided we're going to go drive to Beverage Barn because we were told that they had a new bottle of their stuff out. So we ran in there, and sure enough, they had, I think, 2 or 3 cases of it. And so, Rebecca, would you like to go ahead and talk about the bottle we're trying tonight?
So first of all, to know that this brand was originally established in 1880, and it was a very dominant brand of its time. It was like nationally distributed. During Prohibition, like so many others, it really had its challenges, and it was there it was distilled at the Winstead Distillery in Henderson. But they went out of business, but now they're doing this revival, bringing the brand back, and it's just really exciting to see that happen. And they're really hoping to build a legacy for the future. So this particular bottle is single barrel number 7. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. They do label it as a whiskey mostly because that was the original label. The company that owns it is Hargis Spirits LLC out of Henderson, Kentucky. The distiller on this is someone you might recognize, Jacob Call, who is now with Western Distilling Company, and this was bottled at Western Distilling Company. It was originally distilled in Kentucky, and it goes through the sour mash process. This happens to be 6 years old, so they acquired barrels early on to plan for this and be ready for it. Its mash bill is 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. They use new charred oak barrels, and this was a level 4 char. It was actually released on December 9th, 2024, and its proof is 107. And we paid $79.99 for this single barrel bottle.
So let's go ahead and give it a try.
Yeah, because we have not tried
Barrel 7.
Barrel 7, we have no idea. It's kind of a medium golden color. It's dark, maybe dark golden, would you say?
I would agree.
So it's not super dark, but it's got some color, and it definitely has some legs. So I like that. Let's check out the nose.
Oh, there's brown sugar in there. My gosh. Tad bit of rye.
Yeah, you can tell that, what was it, 21% rye, I think, on this. Mm-hmm. It's definitely coming through. Got those nice rye spice notes, and there's almost a little bit of orange in it too. That's probably coming off the rye.
I've been on a run with this. I'm picking up a tad bit of honeysuckle.
I'm ready to give it a taste.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's to the revival of Silk Velvet whiskey. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is on par as some of my favorite ones from that night. Because it has so much complexity in the mouth.
There's a lot going on at the beginning. There's honeysuckle. That comes through. There's a little bit of a cinnamon. So it's got a little bit of pop.
It's got some rye spice in the back.
And I think the rye is what's making it spicy. It's very good. I'm not getting brown sugar yet.
No, because I think the honey notes kind of took over a little bit. I'm getting some caramel though. So I think the brown sugar on the nose for me turned a little bit to caramel, which I'm not complaining about. Let's go ahead and try another sip. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm digging this.
I'm getting some kind of a fruit. It's not a cherry. It's almost a berry. It's really
raspberry?
Good. Yeah.
Raspberry.
I never get that.
I never get that either.
I mean, it's really rare when I get like a raspberry. It is really good. I'm digging this.
I mean, I've been given the raspberry, but I usually don't get raspberry, and it's very surprising. It's amazing to think that a week ago, really, I had no knowledge of this brand, and then all of a sudden tried 3 or 4 variations of it, and thought that's pretty cool. And we're pouring this. This is
terrific.
This is terrific.
I will say that right now, this is only distributed in Kentucky because they only have so many barrels. They have started distilling at Western Distilling. And so, of course, that's going to have to age. And they like kind of a 6-year profile. So they did purchase quite a few barrels over the last several years. And they're hoping they can keep that up for a time until they have everything else ready. But they said this is the profile. This is the mash bill that they always used. And this is what they want to keep it at. So.
That's good. They seem to be very much about the history of the brand and keeping it consistent with what it originally was.
Including these labels, which are just beautiful, I think.
It's a cool looking bottle.
You don't see this beautiful blue on labels very often.
You don't.
It's really pretty.
And for people that, if you see around us, that we have a challenge of size at times, I like the size of the bottle. And I like the way it actually feels when you pick it up. Yeah,
well, let's do another taste for the taste as well as check out the finish on this.
Okay.
Gosh, that honey and caramel together And now I'm getting almost, there's so much viscosity on this, I'm getting almost a custard-like thing happening. I'm just tasting that one, letting the finish kind of do its thing.
I'm getting a tad bit of leather in the back.
You can get some of those barrel notes and some of the oak.
I'm getting leather in the back. I'm getting the rye spice in the back.
Yes.
And it's meeting with a leather. It's very, very good profile.
And I'm getting some hits of black pepper as well. So you've got that kind of traditional finish going on, and it is a long finish.
It is. This is still going on.
Again, in case this is 107 proof, so it's not low and not high. It's kind of in that medium area, but it has a terrific finish.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, wow.
It certainly does. Let's get one last hit.
It's just great. I mean, it just feels so good in your mouth. I love it when a bourbon feels good in your mouth. Because it makes it linger, and just, you can really pick up the taste more because it gets in every little nook and cranny.
And I'm getting the pepper now. And it's not that you just said, had just said it. I am getting it now. I think it's starting to open up. And it's very pleasant.
It's terrific.
Cheers to all of you at Silk Velvet. Really outstanding stuff. We look forward to talking to the owner at some point, maybe even doing an interview. We would love to hear you talk about
Zeb seemed pretty open to that. So.
He definitely seemed open to that, and that you're a neighbor out there. We definitely want to be able to help you guys out.
Cheer you on through the journey of reviving this amazing spirit, which is what we really believe in.
Absolutely. Cheers to you. If you can get it, go get it. Have a great night.
Cheers.